Dan Illman, Ashley Mailloux kicking off the stakes action at Laurel Park on Saturday. The first of four is race number 4. And it's the Willa on the move for fillies and mares. We're going 6.5 furlongs. Let's take a look at this field. 100 grander. Now, Headland is even money, and Headland probably deserves to be even money. She's faced some tough stakes competition out of town. She projects as the lone speed. The question is, will Headland run here? She's also cross-entered at Gulfstream.
I don't know. Even if she shows up, even money's a little short on her in this spot. I think my concern with her, Dan, as you go down the page, she's gotten caught in 2 of her last 3. I know she was still, disqualified and placed 3rd in that race 3 back, but we haven't seen the same grit that we saw from her at Ellis Park in Saratoga, and she's been a hot commodity. She's been in barn to barn, and when she wants to show up, she could certainly win it, but at a short price, I might look at another.
Let's throw up that Timeform US pace projector. It expects to favor front runners, and Headland is the main front runner in this field. Maybe won't have to exert as much energy in this race to get to the lead. The number 6, that's Apple Picker for Brittany Russell. Horse that ran so well last time out against fellow 3-year-olds. She has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating, and I wonder if Sheldon Russell's going to try to get her into the race a little earlier.
I would think so. I think it's a compact field. He has the outside post position out of the starting gate and can work a trip from there. And, she's coming out of a race at 7-8. She's going to have to be a little sharper at 6.5, but hopefully she's closer and the pace is hotter.
The number 1 Dream Chaser, her speed figures are a little bit light, but I never want to count out Butch Reed because he really knows what he's doing. This horse won a stake around 2 turns back in July, and something must have happened because Butch backed off. He brought Dream Chaser back in a first-level allowance at Parks over this distance, over a testing track, and I think this horse gained not only a lot of fitness from this race, but a little bit of confidence as well because she had to work every step battling these 2 horses to her inside, and she still got it done.
Yeah, and she's going to actually win pretty nicely here. And I think the key thing also is not just the little bit of a freshening. They're going to cut her back, and she has to race on this wet, fast track that to me has a fair bit of moisture in it. And she just kind of cruises here and ends up winning by a length. I think for me, the one thing that she has going is she's just been really good in her last 2. And you wonder if she can take another step forward and certainly can maybe sit a trip. She draws to the inside. I know the fractions 2 back were pretty slow to say the least, but I think she can get herself in a good position early on.
Moody Woman is the number 2. She ran 3rd at huge odds in the Barbara Fritchie last year, and maybe she'll be coming into the 2024 in better form. Here's her win in the Mahoning Distaff last time out. She was dismissed at 11-1, and I like what she did in this race because My Destiny at odds on got up close to pretty moderate fractions. Moody Woman had to rally wide into those fractions, and she was best.
She was best, and I thought this was a nice effort. It was nice to see her win, and her other wins were kind of earlier this year. And if the pace is moderate, I think she's got a shot, at least for the minors. She's actually run kind of her best races when it hasn't been too quick because I think she's outrun early. She is making up ground, but the disadvantage there is there's just such a big gap. She can't get the job done. So if the pace is moderate, I think she could close and get a piece against this field.
I'm getting there as the number 3. She was 3rd last time out. It was a speed favoring track, but the rail was also good. And I thought I'm getting there raced on the best part of the track for most of the way. She ended up finishing 3rd. I'll throw her race out 2 back, going 2 turns against the likes of Hybrid Eclipse. She's a rock solid horse. And if you look at some of her races, she has shown the ability to get close to slow paces.
She has. And I think the thing with her is it looks like Hammy Smith's just been trying a little bit of everything. They've tried going longer on the turf, cutting her back, stretching her out on the dirt, and more recently did cut her back to 6 furlongs. And you can see 2 starts back, she did have to face Hybrid Eclipse. Even the race that I think is her best is the race 3 back when she's second to a really nice horse. And the pace was a little quick early on, and she still hung in there. I thought that's kind of the effort maybe to key in on. So curious to see from her what the game plan will be.
Worst Behavior brought a 2-race win streak into her most recent start. Those 2 wins came at Penn National, however. She ran in the Safely Kept. She finished behind Apple Picker, but John Service isn't really willing to throw in the towel just yet. He's back again with Worst Behavior, a horse that needs a buyer boost.
And Adam Bowen's going to stick with this one, piloted to her 2 wins, 2 and 3 starts back. And the big thing is you look at her win kind of earlier in 2023 at Parks. That's back in June when she's able to graduate. She was forwardly placed in those last 2 wins. She's been further back and has made a late run. And I like that they're going to give her another shot at Laurel. To me, that maybe speaks of what John Service thinks of this horse and maybe thinks that this filly can do better than she did last time out. I think from a numbers perspective, that's what she's going to need to do.
The 5 Headland's a hard hitter. She's great at stakes placed. She has a lot of early speed. She has some fast races on her page. Now she's looking to get her first ever stakes victory. She was third last time out in the Garland of Roses at Aqueduct. And in that race, she had to battle early with the favorite, Olga Isabel. And she puts Olga Isabel away. That horse ended up finishing last. Headland stayed on to finish third. I thought it was a good performance considering that she might not have to work as hard to get to the lead here. So it might be an easier pace scenario. But as you said in the open, she's been had sometimes.
Yeah, it's tough. She could certainly romp here, right, Dan? You've kind of alluded to the fact that if she gets lonely on the lead, to me, she's the type that she's really dangerous if that were to happen. And she could probably take this field gate to wire. Now, in the event that maybe what I'm hoping happens is someone tries to press her, she could be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, that last race she did quit. They did go a decent clip. It's at six. 6.5 is a different ball game. You go to those wins earlier this year, they were at six and they were at 5.5. And she was a pretty keen early on in those races and they went fast. I just think if she gets pressed, 6.5 could be tough for her.
Trainer Brittany Russell live in a lot of these stakes races at Laurel on Saturday. I like the way Apple Picker performed last time out in the Safely Kept. She sat in the second flight. She followed the odds-on winner on the turn, eased to the outside. She never stops trying. I think this Howl, the winner of this race, might be a nice horse for Brad Cox. Apple Kicker is going to alter course inside. Sheldon Russell's going to drop the stick. And even while being hurt towards the rail late, she makes this pretty close.
She does. She's only going to miss here by a length. I think she's closing very nicely here. It was going a little bit longer, and we talked about it earlier. I think the goal or maybe the best case scenario for her is that she's going to be more forward than she has been. I think she's going to need to do that at the 6.5. But, you might look at her Raven run performance and say, oh, she split a field. Not really. The top two are much the best. Vava, we know Cherie DeVaux's done very well with. I believe that's who's got this horse still. And, the top two are clear of the field by about 13 lengths. She didn't really miss third by that much to get that grade two kind of in the money finish. And, I think she's got a lot of upside in this field, especially being a 3-year-old filly against some older horses.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this race. I'm going to go with Apple Picker in here. I think that she's going to run a good effort off, even though she's going to be facing older horses for the first time. She's the kind of filly that, as you said, I think can stay closer and run Headland down.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of made the case for her of why we like her. I understand you could go against her for the same reason. She's a 3-year-old. Headland's a 7-year-old mare, has the early foot. But I just think if Sheldon Russell can put her into contention early on, at least we know she's going to try to make that one late run.
6251 for Ashley, 6524 for me. Nice stakes action at Laurel Park on Saturday. Good luck.